Welcome to the Lift Your Story podcast with guest Vamsi Panala. Hi, everyone. I am that gal. I am Lorianne from Milton, Ontario, Canada, and I am with.
I am that guy. I am Roy Miller from Dallas, Texas, and we would like to welcome you to our Lift Your Story podcast.
So, in this episode, we have Vamsi Panala from India. Thanks for being with us. He is a virtual summit coach, is a podcaster, a marketer, and an entrepreneur. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much, Lauren, and it's really a pleasure to speaking to you both on this show today. So I'm really looking forward to some good conversation.
Good. So, according to your bio, on your journey to becoming an entrepreneur, you failed 5 times.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your journey from start through those failures to where you are today?
Yeah, sure. So entrepreneurship didn't really happen by choice. It actually happened by chance, to be very honest. This was a time where I was in my last job, which didn't really last for more than 5 months because of certain disconnects which I had with my job. But otherwise, it's been a roller coaster ride to begin with, because I've come into this world with absolutely no experience of what entrepreneurship would demand. I had aspirations to become one. I've really followed a few really successful entrepreneurs to what they have been doing. So entrepreneurship as such has been on top of my mind, but I had some really good stint in the corporate world while I was there. I spent about 13 years there, worked with uh, organizations ranging from startups to multinationals. So um, after I quit my last job, I was not really sure where life was taking me. I was actually in the crossroads in terms of whether I should go back to another job or should I kind of take a break, see what I should be doing, because I really didn't wanted to repeat what I did with my last job. Not that it was bad, but just that when you spend only 5 months with a company, whereas your average stint till that date has been about 22 months. That was my first job. So things were not very you know natural in terms of how I approach my corporate career at that point. So with all the calculations, the risk appetite, everything that I had at that specific point, I thought, okay, I mean, let me go give a good shot at entrepreneurship. On a bad day, if things are not working out, probably I have another job at another day, right? So that's basically what I told myself. And this was after taking a break of probably 30-35 days, because I didn't spend a lot of time with my family. I was really juggling between each day of my work in the corporate world, because I was at a senior positions when I was there. So I spent some good time with my family, with my son who was just 1 year old at that point. So when I started my journey, um, I didn't know what this whole thing was called, shiny object syndrome. I mean, people used to tell me, when you are in the world of entrepreneurship, you will be chased by shiny object syndrome. I thought it was some kind of a disease. I mean, I know people talk about syndromes, very
It
specific
is
to.
kind of a disease, actually.
It is. I only figured out that it is actually a disease which doesn't really make you sick, but eventually it will do more bad to you than actually getting something like a flu or a fever or anything like that. It eventually squeezes out a lot of your time, which is the most valuable commodity for anyone in their life right now. It will make you spend tons of money that you had from your hard-earned savings, and more than anything, it will just put your efforts to absolutely no results, right? So I was chasing an opportunity after an opportunity on the internet, because for all the good reasons that no one told me what I should be doing. I had no direction, no mentor, no one to guide me what should be my next journey should look like. So that is where I was talking about 5 different failures. I started off with affiliate marketing, only to realize that it's something which can actually be a career, but it takes a lot of time for you to become an established affiliate marketer, because it probably might take 6 months or even a year to see first dollar online, because you should be publishing consistently, you should be providing a lot of value, you can't expect to make money from day one, you should know a lot of stuff: organic marketing, paid marketing, WordPress, websites, YouTube, whatever that probably brings traffic to your offers. So I thought, no, I don't have 6 months on me to wait to see my first dollar online. So I didn't stop it, but I kind of put a comma there and moved on to my next opportunity, which was designing funnels. So if you're aware of this community called ClickFunnels, so I was seeing people flashing screenshots of making $1,500, $2,500, whatnot. I mean, saying that, I designed a funnel for my client, I'm doing so much of money. I was like, this shouldn't be tough. I mean, if so many people are doing, this should be something that probably I might actually end up doing as well. So I got into a course, I learned the fundamentals of doing it. That program was designed to be in terms of challenges, so I did about 4 or 5 challenges with like a breeze. And only when I got into sixth, seventh of it, I realized that I didn't have the design bone in me. So I said, this is not for me. So I stopped it there. I called it off, and then I moved on to my third opportunity, which was marketing consultations. So there was this point almost 1.5 year ago where I was summarizing these two excellent books, which I still follow to the T, called .com Secrets and Expert Secrets. So I started reading that book. I only thought, can I just read this, add my life experiences from the corporate world in terms of what I understand about that particular topic, and then summarize it. So I started going live every single day on my Facebook and on YouTube, parallelly using this tool called StreamYard. I'm sure you know about that.
Mhm.
So, and that kind of started attracting a lot of people, because I was talking pure play marketing combined with my corporate experience, and I'm showing up every single day, and I did that for 66 days on a trot. So it started getting a lot of people asking me if I can look at what they are doing in their business and see if I can help them with some marketing consultations. I thought, this is what I wanted to do all my life, because I spent 13 years in the corporate world as a sales and marketing expert, and that was the dream coming true for me, where people were asking me to come and help them with their marketing strategies. I don't know if I attracted the wrong crowd, but I don't know if things were not destined to help me continue do that. People wanted to do everything but had absolutely limited or no budgets, which was not worth my time. So it died a very short death. And then I moved on to my fourth one, which was about a distribution opportunity for a medical device based out of Germany. I still have that. It was one. So of the five, this was the only one that I kind of started seeing success. This basically helps people with microcirculation. This is a PEMF device that I'm referring to. I'm not selling anyone, but I'm just giving you a detail of what I was selling.
Mhm.
So when I started getting a lot of traction, March to 2020 happened. And you all know what happened in March 2020, right? So COVID happened. So this is a $5,000 device. So I had to go and show demonstration about what this device can do to anyone's personal health. So, and when this time came in, people were not even allowing their own, you know parents or their daughter sons to their own home. Forget about anyone allowing you to get into their house and showing a demonstration of any product as it is. So that again took a back seat, and I had to pause it there. And on my last opportunity, which was the fifth one, I was trying to build my own social media agency. And that is exactly the time. This was April 2020, where we were all in the midst of global lockdown. And I thought, and during all of these five different opportunities that I was chasing, one of the good things that happened, and by the way, I have never repented for chasing all of these shiny objects, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So while I was chasing my fifth shiny object, there was this idea out of nowhere where I told myself, I was able to network with some of the biggest 6 7 figure entrepreneurs during this last 1 year, you know, because of all these shiny objects that I was chasing, because I was in their Facebook groups, I bought their products, I was engaging with their Facebook lives, attending their virtual summits, whatnot. So I was in their closest vicinity possible. If you were to do the same thing today, they would not even look at your friend request. There was this time where I had the opportunity to become friends, to be able to send a message, they would read and reply back, so I thought, and I was looking at a lot of people like me in the market, people who were losing jobs left, right, and center because of COVID, and they had aspirations like me to become an entrepreneur because they come with a lot of different skill sets that can give them that start and do something on their own, and let go any opportunities that probably might put them in a same kind of a position where they might get into a new job but might be laid off within no time because of businesses shutting off very quickly than they anticipated because of COVID, right? So I was seeing a lot of people like me in the market. So I was thinking, can I actually bring these people who are still running their 6 7 figure businesses without as if nothing happened? I mean, when people were really losing jobs, people were shutting their brick and mortar businesses, businesses that has been running for decades. I know businesses in India which run for almost 100 years shut shop because nothing happened for them during those 7 8 months of COVID, and these people were still making the same amount of money as if nothing happened. So I thought, can I actually ask them to come and share the strategies that are helping them to continue what they are doing? And maybe a platform like Virtual Summit is the right thing, so that I can pose the same question to all these experts and they can share their own strategies which are working. So that way, at least when people can come and watch these, they can take one nugget from every speaker that they could watch and go back and implement that in their business. See if that can really change the way they operate their business or their mindset, whatever little that I can help by doing a virtual summit. So I started reaching out. The idea was to just do about 10 15 of this because I had absolutely no clue of how a virtual summit is done, because I've only been a part of a couple of myself. But when I decided to do this, the only thing that really helped me with my experience of whatever I did in the corporate world was to see if I can reverse engineer what happens inside a virtual summit and not from a front end perspective. So I wrote down what all is required. And by the way, no one told me how to do it. I didn't even took any program. I didn't read any articles about how to launch a virtual summit. It was purely out of my own experience of what actually needs to be done to do something like this. So I wrote a list of things. So, okay, there is a website, which means I need to have a domain name. I need to have some hosting. Then there is a lot of copy on the website, which means that someone has to either write it or I have to write it myself. There are a lot of graphics, so I need a graphics designer. There are a few VSLs, so I need someone to edit it. There is a membership site, so I need something which can also have a membership site. Then there is a payment gateway. Then there is Zapier. Then there is blah. There is blah. There is blah. So I wrote a list of all the things that it requires, and I started figuring out everything myself. So for my virtual summit that I did, called the Impact Marketing Summit, I was my funnel builder. I was the copywriter. I had someone helping me with the graphics and video, but everything else, I was the face of it. So a host, marketer, someone who would reach out to all the speakers, follow up, interview them, everything from zero to whatever you get to see on the summit right now. So that's basically how my journey from the corporate world, spending 13 years there, then something happened, I had to take a break, then wanted to do entrepreneurship, chased 5 different opportunities, nothing worked out. And then suddenly out of nowhere, I didn't really mean to become a virtual summit coach, but again, as I mentioned, it happened out of a chance. But I love what I'm doing right now because I strongly believe, and I'm sure other virtual summit coaches would also believe, that this is the only tool on the internet right now as we speak, which will allow you to be seen alongside the biggest influencers in your niche, which will help you create a huge email list for your business, which is what a lot of people don't know how to build one for their business. More importantly, it will allow you to do joint ventures with these all influences that you bring as speakers on your summit. And some of the opportunities that also happen in my case is it will allow you to basically sign up as a high ticket affiliate, which is most of the time, 99% of the time is only by invite. So because you get to work so closely with all these influencers who run 6, 7, or even 8-figure businesses, and you get to interview them, they get to understand you so closely. If you ask them if there is an opportunity for them to promote their high ticket products, because with the kind of relation that you have probably would have built by then, they would allow you to actually sign up for their high ticket affiliate programs. So there are so many opportunities that one virtual summit can do. And I'm not saying that doing a virtual summit is easy. In no means it is not easy. It's only that it is probably as good as creating a course for your business or a coaching program for your business. But the fundamental difference is that it will bring you leads to your business on autopilot. If you have done the right thing, it is only one time effort where you have to come up with a certain question which is evergreen, and then ask your speakers that question, let them give as much value as possible, put it out on the internet, send traffic to that, and your business will change right in front of your eyes. That's been my journey.
So how long did it take you when you started your reverse engineering process to get your process in order to start? How long of a journey was that for you?
Uh, you're basically taking me back in the memory lane. So I had this idea of doing the virtual summit on 26th of April 2020. I still remember the date because I, for God's sake, cannot forget that day, because that kind of changed everything what I'm doing right now.
Mhm.
So I reached out to about 40 odd people on day one and about another 43 people on day two, only because I thought, even I know these people pretty much, they are friends, they can probably respond to my message and see what can happen. I wanted to increase the possibility of people saying yes, because I was expecting almost everyone saying no. Because because this was during COVID, people were losing businesses, and I was not just asking for 30 minutes of their time, but I was also asking them to prepare for the summit, move calendars just in case if the dates that I'm asking for, they have already had some block. So where I was planning for 10 to 15 people, it actually ended up becoming a 35 people summit, because everyone loved what I was doing, and they wanted to do something of their own bit to help people with whatever they can come and provide value. So from 26th of April, I was actually done doing everything, right from building the funnel, getting all the tech stuff in place, recording all the interviews, setting up all of that inside the membership site. I've actually sat down to do my testing on 30th of June.
Wow,
But
that's fast.
but but that is actually when the whole thing actually started for me. Those 2 months was very different. From the day I started doing my funnel testing, everything broke like a deck of cards. I mean, because I'm in India, my payment gateways won't work, because there are 100,000 restrictions of every single dollar coming into the country, and we have to abide with that. So no one knew answers to what I was going through, because I think in 1.4 billion population, probably even today, there are only 10 to 15 people who know solutions to the problems that I have gone through. And I don't know who were those 10 or 14 people. So I had to figure out all on my own. Just so if you should know, I mean, I keep giving this example. If you were to integrate Stripe for one of your funnels today, it should not take more than 5 to 10 minutes. It took me 45 days.
Oh, wow.
So from the day I sat for testing out my payment gateways and all of the other tech stuff, which was not really working the way I wanted it to be, it just pushed my launch date to a different level. And the most disturbing part was that I built so much momentum during that, because I was putting a speaker announcement day after day. So I had all my graphics done. I had teaser of every speaker chalked out, a 50 second teaser of all the presentations that I've already recorded till that date. Everyone was so moving to get access to that summit, because I was already building a lot of pressure by then, but I couldn't launch it on the days when I really wanted to, because there was no payment gateway. I mean, I knew that I wanted to give everything out for free, but for people who wanted to have lifetime access, I wanted to actually have some kind of neck in line for them to put in some dollars so that they can take it seriously. But when those things didn't happen, I had to really abruptly give up on my marketing. I stopped talking anything about my summit, because one post about it, I would get 10 DMs asking, Vamsi, when is it happening again? So I stopped doing, so I lost the entire momentum. But to answer your question, based on how many people you want to launch your summit with, it can range anywhere between 60 to 90 days. For example, if you want to do everything on your own, like you want to build your funnel, you want to write your own copy, do the video editing, the tech stuff, and all of that thing, it will probably take anywhere between 90 to 100, 120 days. But if you have someone do it for you, like a done for you service, right? All you have to worry about is come up with a list of your dream speakers, schedule calls with them, interview them for the topic that you have finalized for your virtual summit, the theme of what that summit is, and then give it to that team to do everything for you. Build the funnel, write the copy, get all the videos edited, do the graphics, take care of all the tech integrations. It should take anywhere between 60 to 75 days.
So I have a question for that. So are these pre-recorded? The interviews are pre-recorded for the summit, right? So they're not live. You're not having the people come on live. Okay, that makes
So
sense.
that makes complete sense. So there
Yeah.
are three ways in which you can do a virtual summit. One is doing it live, which I'm not a big fan of, because even with so much of advent of technology that we have, with internet bandwidths available between 100 to 300, 400 GB as well, one speaker's internet breaking down at any point, because it is all live, it will just spoil the entire experience for people who will get on that summit,
Yeah.
right? So I would never do any of my summits live. I would never recommend any of my clients doing a summit live. But if that's a choice that they want to do it, then you probably want to have something like what Tony Robbins has, right? So a whole setup where you could stream it from one place. You can get all your speakers into a place where you can do it physically from one point, and you know that there is no way that your internet bandwidth is going to go for a toss. The second way is basically doing it pre-recorded, which is what I did, and which is what I strongly recommend any of my clients doing it, where you basically pre-record everything, put it inside a membership site, and then tell that these are the dates in which you are doing day 1, day 2, day 3, or whatever number of days that you are doing. And then people start getting access to those number of videos based on how you want to drip it in an email sequence. The third way is just a tweaked way of doing it pre-recorded. But what you can also do is, when you have all these pre-recorded videos of your speaker presentations, you could use platforms like OneStream, which essentially allow you to put those videos and you can make it live, right? So people can actually block out dates. If you believe that, if you give them pre-recorded videos, and they may or may not end up seeing them. If it is live, people probably might block out those dates and actually come and show up to watch the summit. Then you probably can do something like OneStream, where you upload all your pre-recorded videos onto that platform, and you stream it to a platform like Facebook group, or something like that, where you have all the people who have signed up for your summit inside a private group, and they only get to see those videos getting streamed, so they are all live. So for them, it looks like you are actually doing it live, but in the backend you have already pre-recorded and you have uploaded it to this platform, which basically shows that it is coming live. So that's the three different ways of doing a virtual summit.
So this is particularly for the summit. So if you're having like a conference, I just went to a Podfest conference on virtual. And of course, there you do have them live because they need the answer questions. In this
Yeah.
particular case, it's more for the view. It's not an interaction as much. So that's how I like that. That's brilliant.
So just to answer your question there, Lauren, I mean, when you are doing it either in the second mode or in the third mode, where you are either pre-recording and putting it inside a membership site, or if you're doing it like a blended model where you're pre-recorded and putting it as a live, you could basically let people know that you would have a separate Q&A session with the speakers at a later date, so that by then they would have already watched all the presentations, made notes of all the questions they had, and then you actually have probably a Zoom call like this where you could have all of them put in their questions and the speakers can answer. So, and or probably even that can be a Facebook live as well, with the speaker, so you could schedule that separately, and that's something that you can do as well. But the only problem with the live is it could become chaotic, number one, and with speakers being across 100 different time zones, it's almost impossible to be able to get them on a virtual platform unless it's a physical location where they're traveling and you have access to them, each one of them physically. Even today, it's probably not something anyone can actually make it doable. So yeah, that's basically my experience. I might be wrong, but that's probably what I believe, how it actually happens.
And you could do that follow up, right? Just invite, you say, okay, well, I have this name. We're going to be on there on the Tuesday, and then follow this date, or once a week, you could just bring another one of them from that summit on as a guest. I love that. Great idea.
It's interesting. It's interesting to me that all these steps that you went through, affiliate marketing, funnel building, really, all those were stepping stones actually to get you where you are. It's amazing that you think, well, I did this, that didn't work, I did this. Then all of a sudden you get over here, I'm gonna put all this stuff together. Look what I've got now.
Thank you for actually reminding me this. That is exactly why I said I didn't repent for the number of shiny objects that I chased, because number one, it made me network with some of the biggest people that I always looked up to every single day. The reason why I used to show up in their Facebook groups, on their Facebook lives, subscribe to their YouTube channel and all of that stuff is because they provide so much value without expecting anything in return. And when they saw me engaging with them every single day, I was able to become friends with them. I was able to chat as if I knew them for a long time. So when I started sending out a message asking them, hey, would you be interested to do something like this? I would need 30 minutes of your time to come and be a speaker on my virtual summit. They just accepted it the same second. So I still remember, as I said, on day one, where I spent in the first hour, I came back from my rooftop when I was actually playing badminton with my wife. This is exact the time where I got this idea of doing this virtual summit. So I came down at 7 o'clock in the night, my time, and I started messaging. By 11 o'clock in the night, I had of the 10 people that I messaged, I had 10 of the 11 I messaged, I had 10 people confirming that they would be a speaker on my summit. So that's essentially how it eventually turned out to be.
Wow.
Fantastic. And it was kind of, in a sense, it was timely too. And the pivoting of, so that when people are calling, you really didn't pivot. You were actually building before the whole thing happened.
Absolutely. And if you should just know, Lauren, I think that was the season when virtual summits actually taken off. I mean, if you were to count how many virtual summits happened from March of 2020 to till date, probably my summit, not that my summit was the first of its kind. There were a lot of summits that happened before as well. And there were thousands of summits that happened post that. But people who knew the value of doing a virtual summit at that particular point, my virtual summit probably should be in top 10 of the number of summits that came around that time. And that was the biggest opportunity for any business, because look at the possibility, right? There were more people on the internet than ever from the time internet was discovered. Right? I mean, everyone, people who said internet was not for them, online business was not for them, everyone was jumping to create a website, create a Shopify store, create something that would give them the opportunity to sell online. And this was the time everyone wanted to learn marketing, learn about how they can sell their products online, how they can do their coaching. I mean, nothing was possible in the brick and mortar anymore, right? So that was probably, I don't know where this whole idea of the virtual summit came at that point, but eventually it turned out to be a really big idea that changed my life actually.
Well, that's great.
Fantastic.
So how can our listeners reach out to you?
I am Vamsi Panala everywhere, whether it's my Twitter handle, my Clubhouse handle as well, if I can say that right now, or just on my Facebook. I mean, everywhere. My LinkedIn handle, everything. You could just go and search Vamsi Panala, and I'm active in most of the platforms. Yeah.
Okay. All right, great.
I
That's
I
easy.
do have to say something. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's easy enough to find your name.
Yeah.
Search your name and anything, and there you are.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty important that you have a name common across platforms because it's easy for people to find you. So that's basically my name everywhere.
Okay.
Beautiful.
What were you gonna say, Lorianne?
Excellent. Oh, I was just gonna say that, yeah, I always joke around when people say Clubhouse because I've got this post I put on Facebook and it was about me finding an older iPad and I was all excited and then I updated it because it said newer version and it said, okay, your 12.5.1 is now available. And then I went to get the Clubhouse and it says you need version
Four-
13.
Yeah, 14 is
I'm
up to
like
14.
0.4, 0.9 away from it. And then of course in the picture it shows me throwing my iPad away. But you know, it's what it is. I'm not going to buy an Apple until it comes to Android now just because of that.
Oh, just so you should know, they have hired their first Android engineer. So hopefully there is an
I
app coming on Android very soon.
and I figured that because seriously, no matter what, not everyone is going to go out and buy an Apple, and they're definitely going to want to have the Android people like us. So they'll get there. Be
That is the
patient.
biggest market anyway.
Exactly. So we love this and talk about patience. There you go. You stuck to it. You had patience and you did it. This is a
Yeah.
wonderful story. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, your story was great. I mean, it's an inspirational. It will inspire people that no matter what, even if this A, B, C didn't work, just keep going till you get to G. That's the one that's going to get you there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had my moments. Let me be honest about admitting that. I mean, every single day while I was figuring out that payment gateways and a few other problems that I was trying to figure out, the day I get up, there would be a new problem that would greet me that day morning. Hey, there is this new problem you should figure out. I mean, I would not go to bed not trying to solve that problem. And every day was a new problem. I mean, I was trying to set up my company registration because one of the things that I would require to set up my Stripe account was to have a current account. So for a current account, I have to launch a business, and all of that was to be done when there was no government organization working. I mean, it was all shut because of COVID. So I had no clue of how I should approach these government officials because it would be very tough to get hold of them, get work done when they are actually available in a brick and mortar setup. So no one was working, and I would not know what I should be doing next because no one had clue of what I should be doing anyway. So every day used to be a roadblock that I would have to clear. It's like I'm sitting on a huge a JCB where I'm clearing off the road and there is a new roadblock, then there is a new roadblock. I mean, I would just, as if I'm just clearing a road, right, to put a path to my success, right? So but yeah, I think at the end of the day, my perseverance kind of paid off. I thought I have come so long that I know just because of these few obstacles, probably if I give up, I probably might repent big in the days to come. So I didn't give up. And that's probably the reason why I'm doing this show right now, possibly talking about my story. Otherwise, if that virtual summit never seen the light, the story was incomplete, right? So yeah.
Well, there you go. We were talking prior to this. We are at the top of the hour, but I'm just going to quickly say this. We are talking about what's unusual about you. And you were talking about all of the expertise in sports and singing and all of that you gave up for your education. Well, you might have given those up. We also said that you could still go back to them. But with all of that, look at the persistence in this. So there must have been, something in there was saying to you, I need to complete something. So you did.
Absolutely.
Congratulations. Wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you so much
yeah.
again.
Thank you so much for being our guest. Really do appreciate it.
No, my pleasure, Lauren and Roy. I mean, Yeah, I've been on a few podcasts myself, but this has been very different in terms of the conversation that I had. It feel like it was an episode getting recorded. You guys really kind of broke the ice before we got into the conversation. So I really loved that small chat that we had before the record button was pressed. So thank you so much for giving that space, and I was really looking forward to getting on this show from the time I rescheduled it. But thank you once again for having me, and really a pleasure to talk to you both today.
It was a real pleasure to meet you and hear your story.
Absolutely. Take
Thank
care,
you.
everyone.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Be sure to visit us at lifterstory.com.